May I come in? I stopped by the grocery and picked up some orange juice and some cheese and half of espresso. And then I went by the laundry to see. Well, I thought perhaps there were some things there that nobody had thought to pick up. The groceries are a present to you from me, but you owe me $4.91 for the shirts. Ah, thank you. Now, if you will, I would like you to come uptown with me. Mary's Mass is at 11, and we're going straight to the cemetery from the church, and I want you with us.
Sorry. Under the best of circumstances, I'm no good at funerals. Last thing I need is Ryan family ritual.
You'll forgive me if I say that I think you're wrong.
So I'm wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. No funeral.
Jack, you have some choices to make. God knows I may be wrong, but will you listen to me for a minute?
Sure.
All right. You can, with very little effort on your part, turn back into the kind of man you were before my daughter met you. That would be the easiest choice. But finally, the most painful one for you, as well as all of us that will have to watch you do it, especially your daughter. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that the most important part of Mary's life was the part that she shared with you. And if that's to mean anything, how can you turn your back on what she wanted for you and what she gave you? And as I see it, she gave you two things that you didn't have before. And one is a family, and the other your daughter. Please, come home with me. All right. Then let me say this. This is going to be a long, hard day. And I need you there.
For heaven's sakes, how did you find me here?
I figured since you weren't at home, you might be taking care of our mutual interest in Ryan's.
Dan, the bar isn't even open today. Mary's funeral is this morning. And I'm terribly sorry, but there's no way I can put my mind on commodities today.
Well, then consider your note, which I hold, with Ryan's as collateral, and meet me here at the corporate apartment, say, early afternoon.
Expect me to feel all romantic and wonderful and adventurous after the funeral of one of the most important people in my life.
Delia, it's becoming very clear that you have an endless supply of seemingly valid reasons not to honor our arrangement.
How can you talk about honor?
A deal is a deal.
I didn't know I was making a deal when I made it.
Oh, of course you did. Now, let me give you a bit of advice. In the business world, nothing is more valuable than your word. And if your associates, particularly your creditors, begin to question your credibility, well, then you're in heavy trouble.
But I gave my word to my husband. I promised him I'd be faithful to him, and I also promised never to lie to him.
Well, then obviously you're in a conflicted situation. And I guess you're going to have to decide where your credibility is better reinforced. I want to see you this afternoon.
You're really going to insist, aren't you?
Yes.
All right, I'll meet you there at the corporate apartment. Between 2 and 3.
Why so late?
Damn it, I might have to go to the cemetery. Dan?
Yes?
I'm sorry I dropped the phone. I'll see you later.
I'm looking forward to it. More than I can say. Goodbye.
That was very interesting.
What? No, actually it wasn't. It was so uninteresting I could scream. My commodities are such a mess that I have no choice but to go to Grimley and Fox this afternoon, which is something I really, really don't want to do.
The corporate apartment.
It's another office they have that they use when things get hysterical in the big office, which isn't exactly big, it's just noisy and frantic. Sometimes when you're working with numbers, you need to be someplace quiet so you can think. Roger, I'm so sad I could just die.
Well, obviously it isn't a happy day, but don't be excessive.
You been drinking?
No, not nearly enough. I'd like to ask you a question, Dee.
What?
Well, last night you were preparing to tell me the whole story about you and Dan Fox and what money you owe him and why, correct?
Yeah.
And then Faith came down and told us about Mary, and that was that.
Yeah?
So tell me now.
What?
The whole story about you and Dan Fox, what money you owe him and why.
I lost all my money, and I borrowed from him. And the commodities market's been a disaster for weeks.
So?
So, I'm a failure.
Is that all?
Roger?
I'm sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, you're not really. That's all there is. My career and my self-esteem are out the window, but let's don't talk about that.
It seemed more specific than that last night, Dee.
Well, it's just like you say. Sometimes I get excessive. How's Johnny?
Little John and Ryan, they're settled in with Mrs. Shaw. The grandfather is anything but okay, but he's trying to be brave. Oh. I miss Mary. I just want to be able to send her upstairs and make Frank and Johnny feel better.
Frank must be miserable.
Yeah, that's about it. But he's trying to be brave.
I don't mean to keep following you around. I just need my family right now.
Yeah, those are my sentiments, exactly.
Well, could I interest either of you in a drink?
Yeah.
After the cemetery, are we to come back here?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I can't. I got a business meeting I gotta go to.
Listen, after the funeral, we leave the wreath in the door and then take down the closed sign. I think there's lots of people in the neighborhood who'd like to come in and pay their respects. Be easier for your mother and more natural for all of us if it was here rather than upstairs.
That's good, Di. It'll also make things more normal for the kids, you know.
Where's Maeve anyway?
On a fool's errand, I'm afraid. Can I get anybody anything? Joe?
No, nothing.
How's the time, sweetheart?
I think we got like 15 minutes.
I'm sorry your mother decided to do that. She needs all the reserves she's got today. And I'm afraid that trip downtown was just a fool's errand.
Jack, I'm glad you're here.
Babe's taking care of?
They're upstairs with Mrs.
I'm
Shaw.
sorry I kept you all waiting, but I'll just get my hat. We're all ready now. We're all here.
One autumn Sunday, some years ago, I finished the 12 o'clock high mass and was headed back to the rectory for my second pot of coffee and the Times. And I found Mary lying in wait for me on the vestry steps. Mac, I don't understand them. I'll never understand them. Why can't we use the King James Version? It's so much better. I spent a lot of the last 10 or 12 years caught between them and Mary Ryan Finelli, defending their position on so many things. That Sunday, it was the communion antiphon, the 23rd Psalm in its new translation. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. In green pastures he gives me rest. He leads me beside the waters of peace. Mary didn't like the translation, so I referred her to the Congregation of Sacred Scripture. There's no doubt they heard from her. For Mary and for ourselves, let's offer the 23rd Psalm in the version she would prefer. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
My sister is dead in one sense only. She is, and she always will be, alive in the memory of everyone who ever knew her, in the hearts of everyone who ever loved her, and in the hands of God, who keeps her now. I cannot believe that it is God's will that Mary died in her wrecked automobile the other night. That was an accident, it was madness, it was senseless, and I do not understand it. I believe that it was God's will that Mary live and love us, that she finish the good, brave life she had begun with Jack, that she be his wife, that she be Ryan's mother and the mother of other children whom we now will never know. I believe that God intended her to continue to grow in wisdom and grace and courage, as well as patience, which was one virtue that Mary lacked, because we all needed her to be those things for us when we failed at them ourselves. I needed her. I miss her, I mourn her. If you can miss and mourn someone whose presence you feel as strongly as I feel hers with us now. And beyond that, and more importantly, I celebrate Mary as a unique expression of my parents' love. I celebrate Mary as my sister, as your sister, as your wife, as your friend, as a child of God, as a special love to us all. I celebrate her hopes and her joy, and I celebrate her capacity for life. World without end. Amen.
Every time I open this door and you're on the other side, I fall in love all over again.
That's nice.
I'm sorry it's been such a sad day for you.
It really has, because Mary and I never understood each other, not from the time we were children, and I always dreamed that someday when we grew up, she would learn to appreciate me. Now that's not going to happen. And I have an awful unfinished feeling.
Here, have some of this. It'll make you feel better.
I don't think I like champagne anymore. Maybe it's because I really don't want to be here.
You really are in a negative state, aren't you?
Maybe, but mainly, I don't understand you.
It's very simple. I found I'm crazy about you. I want you, and I don't tolerate frustration well. That's all there is to it.
But I'm not crazy about you. I'm crazy about Roger, and not like you're crazy about me, but like I love him. And how can you be crazy about me when I feel the way I do, unless you're crazy?
No, I know that Roger is just a habit, a psychological crutch. And any minute now, you're going to wake up and realize the need for him is totally gone.
No.
Yes. Now, keeping that in mind, listen to what I have to offer. Now, listen seriously. I have found an apartment. Well, it's a small penthouse, actually. It's in a building right around the corner from my office. And it's yours. There are going to be furs in the closets and champagne in the refrigerator, or whatever else you want, if your aversion to it continues. You'll have all the money you can ever spend, and all the time with me that I can manage. We'll have winter vacations in the Aegean and summer vacations in Switzerland. You can have the world, Delia. There'll be nothing but fun and romance. And a future in commodities that you wouldn't believe. Now, how can you turn your back on that, huh?
Well, I'd be a kept woman.
Well, only in the sense that I'd be keeping you to myself. See, I don't want to share you with anyone anymore.
Yes, sir?
Good afternoon. Am I correct in assuming that the firm of Grimley and Fox has an apartment in this building?
Yes, sir, they do indeed.
And the young lady with the blonde hair whom you helped out of a cab about 5 minutes ago, did she go up to that apartment?
Yes, sir, she did.
And Mr. Fox, I believe he's there also.
Yes, sir.
Does that apartment have a number?
$27D.
One final question.
Yes, of course, sir.
There must be a pass key to apartment 27D.
Top row on the left, sir, 27D.
Steadily for 2 days. I haven't slept much, and I don't feel anything.
Oh, sure you do.
I mean the booze, honey.
You'll join me in another, how about it? Joe.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Frank, how about you?
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Tom. I have to tell you. I'll try to tell you, because I'm not sure I can. What you said at Mass was grand. Only thing missing was applause from Mary herself.
Here, here.
Thank you, Di. I don't really remember exactly what I said.
I'll never forget it.
But she is here. She's here inside of all of us. And that's extraordinary. That part isn't sad.
No. Anything could be sad, dearest, if we don't let all the feelings in. We want to hold on to this day. It's really quite wonderful. I mean, all the people that loved Mary, standing around telling us about it, sharing it with us.
Lady,
Yes, dear.
you know what Mary would want now?
What?
She'd ask you to sing Danny Boy.
Oh, yes, she would. John, I don't think I can.
Georgia, how about you?
Thank you, Danny.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the rose is falling. 'Tis you must go while I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. For I'll be here in sunshine or in shadows. Oh, Danny boy, Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when you come, and all the flowers are dying, and I lay dead, as dead I will maybe, then come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I will hear those soft feet tread above me, and all my grave will warmer, sweeter be. And you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I will sleep in peace until you come.
Veronica always wanted to be a part of the in crowd, but getting out could be murder. Winona Ryder, Kristen Slater, and Shannon Doherty star in the Sunday night movie, Heathers. Sunday night at 8 on SoapNet.